Well, why are we here? How many of you remember the Apollo 13 movie with that famous phrase, Houston, we have a problem? And as we all fill up our gas tanks, we all kind of feel the same way. We have a problem. And when you look at the issues across the board, one of the things that you notice very quickly, oil consumption, coal consumption, natural gas, renewables, nuclear, you go down the list, they're all needed in increasing amounts. The trends in crude oil imports and budgets, we all know what the economic impact is. We all know and feel it not only when we fill up at the gas pump, but also in the grocery stores. We feel it in all of the prices and products.
Recently, the Missouri Energy Development Association conducted a statewide poll. Some of the results were very interesting. People in the state of Missouri believe that our nation's energy policy is on the wrong track by about a 2-to-1 ratio, and that's across political lines and for men and women. And when we ask, so what's your biggest concern, and had them rank them, surprisingly enough, the biggest one by a long margin was our dependence on foreign energy. Can you say $4 a gallon gasoline? Although I should say this poll was taken in early May, so maybe it was only $3.80 a gallon then.
We are witnessing the greatest wealth transfer in history. We're transferring our wealth to the producers of oil and soon natural gas. That's the direction we're going, increasing. Now, where's Missouri stand in all this? I'm not an expert on Missouri, but I've been here 3 times in the last 3 months, so I know about it. Missouri, like I said, you're caught up in everything everybody else is. You're not any different. And you use energy just like everybody else. You have a lot of cars. A lot of your homes are heated with natural gas, like most of the homes in the Midwest, and you use electricity too. Coal provides about 85% of that, and it's the main reason you pay a lot less for energy than some of these other states do. Missouri has a rational approach. I've read every state's energy plan, and I would say right now that without question Missouri's in easily in the top 2 or 3. In terms of rationality, in terms of realism. Maintain existing infrastructure, develop reliable service, make sure you have reliable service, lessen dependence on oil and natural gas, promote alternative fuel sources, and that's ethanol, biofuels, and so forth. And remember, there are no quick or easy solutions. I mean, that comes right out of your state's energy plan. And it makes a lot of sense. It doesn't say, we don't know what the future price of natural gas is, but we're going to build natural gas plants anyway, which California says in its report, page 63.
I ran across this study, and this is sort of the thing that really gets me excited every day when I'm thinking about renewable energy and energy efficiency and the green economy. This was done by the American Solar Energy Society. It was sort of focused on Ohio. It was presented in 2007. The study was done in 2006, and it's talking about the impact that renewable energy and energy efficiency and the whole green economy can have on our workforce and in our nation's economy. The potential, in 2006 we had 8 million Americans working in this industry, generating just under $1 trillion of revenue. That's 2006. By 2030, with the way things are going right now and with the way demand and supply is working right now, we could be seeing 40 million workers. That's 1 in every 4 American workers, and generating over $4.5 trillion in revenue. Now, Missouri is a little bit behind some of our neighbors and some of the rest of the country when it comes to this area. One, we did not go through the utility restructuring, and so our potential for this area and the growth is staggering.
If you'll reflect on the numbers that are being proposed for carbon dioxide reductions, they range, and everyone tries to be more green than their neighbor, but look at these, 60% reductions by 2050, 65, 80, 85% has been proposed as a reduction in carbon dioxide emissions for the United States by 2050. This is the kind of reduction we're talking about. But when you look at it on a per capita basis, because the population is growing in the United States, and if it should continue to grow, we're talking about something more like an 80 or 90% reduction per capita of carbon footprint. Now, how will we achieve that? If you look at this map provided by the Brookings Institute, it shows the per capita carbon dioxide emissions for major metropolitan areas. And look who's in the crosshairs. It's the Midwestern United States, which its low energy costs are a result of coal burning energy. And those areas that have the lowest cost, they're also the areas that have the highest carbon footprint. East and West Coast will not bear the brunt of this proposed legislation. It's the Midwest whose costs will rise the most as energy legislation limits the per capita carbon emissions.
Very interesting issue. Just recently in the state of Alaska, a gentleman by the name of Roy Ennis, who is the chairman of the Congress on Racial Equality, also known as CORE, said that energy is the new civil rights battleground for the 21st century. It's very interesting because when you think about everything that's been discussed today, it really affects real people. And that goes to the heart of the issue. When we talk about energy policy, we're talking about access to affordable, reliable, sustainable energy. And for low fixed income and small businesses, they are on the front lines of that, discussion. So
one of the things that occurred to me when we were listening to the presentation at lunch is the question of how did we come to where we are? How did we get to where we are with what we're facing today in energy prices and rising gasoline prices? And I think if we look back historically and we examine that, the simple answer to that, to save time, is government involvement. We have government involved with energy, and the more we have government involved, the higher the costs get, because we mandate artificial economies. One of the things that has driven those costs is that we've had political reasoning driving decisions rather than fundamental physics and fundamentals of economics. Political reasoning is a totally different animal. Any of you who've been involved in the political world, and many of you have, understand that. The kinds of things that are debated in the House of Representatives or in committees or in sessions of 2 or 3 legislators have completely different objects than the kinds of things that you discuss in boardrooms or around the water fountain in an office. It's a different objective. And as a result, you get different answers. And when you're driving business decisions with politics, you will always cost the consumer. Now more than ever before, probably, government regulation we are facing 40 years of bad public policy, and that's what's costing us today. And I think we heard that at lunch today. We heard a very succinct definition or description of the environment that we're in, energy-wise. The thing that concerned me, though, about that description was that the solution was more government regulation. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense that if government got us into this, that government's going to get us out. And I think we need to be very cautious when we describe who we is that need to make these changes, that we make sure that the we that is making the changes isn't the we that got us where we are today.